This is the third time we're going to be taking a look at 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 13 through 16. Let's read it. Therefore, preparing your minds for action and being sober-minded, set your hope fully on the grace that will be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance, but as he who called you is holy, you also be holy in all your conduct, since it is written, "You shall be holy, for I am holy." As we've started to look at this passage of Scripture, we noticed that it's divided into several different thoughts. First of all, we're supposed to set our hopes fully on the grace to be revealed to us in the last day when Jesus Christ is revealed. And this is a matter of our minds being focused. And so we're called to prepare our minds for action. We're called to be sober-minded, not to be intoxicated with things that cloud our thinking, whether it be alcohol or riches or sports or popularity or anything that can become an intoxicant and cloud our thinking. Then we saw that there is a two-pronged command in verse 14. We're supposed to not be conformed to the passions of our former ignorance. Now we're going to look at the second of those commands, where it says that we are to be holy. That we're to be holy in all of our conduct. The word all of your conduct means in your whole lifestyle, in the way you live your life, be holy. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean to be holy? It's obviously a religious term. It means to be set apart for the use of God. God is holy. He is set apart from all of creation. He is unlike anything in creation. He is other. In the same way, his temple and his priests were set aside for holy use. They were wholly dedicated to God. So that's one idea. They're sacred. They're reserved for a special use. So we're supposed to be set aside for God. Another meaning of the word holy is to be morally pure and blameless. God's calling us to live lives that are without fault, perfect in every way. We are to be like him. Now that's a strange calling, and I think within the lives of people who've been born again by the Spirit, there is a desire to be like God, to be holy, to be pure, to be righteous. Still, though, that word holy, at least for me, carries with it some images that perhaps aren't that helpful. Images of people who are stoic and stern, for whom life seems dreary and dull. And that's why I think it's important for us to consider exactly what God is getting at. And there's a couple of passages of Scripture that I think are helpful as we take a look at the idea of holiness. I think if we take a look, for example, at 1 Peter chapter 2, and this is coming, we'll get there eventually. It says this: "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, now you're God's people. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. So Peter is saying that we are a chosen people, and our purpose is to declare the excellencies of God. So this idea of being holy is one of being enamored with the beauty of who God is and declaring his praises because we're madly in love with him. But there's another idea here in 1 Peter, because it says that we are to be holy because he is holy. We're to imitate him. And I want you to think about that word holy in perhaps a different way. Remember that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. And to love others as much as you love yourself. And so this call is to be completely in love with Jesus and to live a life of love. That's holiness. God is holy. He is completely in love with the most lovable thing in the universe, himself. But he also radiates love in everything that he touches. And so we are to radiate that love. It says in Ephesians chapter 5, therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children and walk in love, as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. That's that vision of holiness that begins to capture my soul. I want to be an imitator of God in that I am in love with him and living a life of love. I want to live a life of loving other people. That's what holiness is. And all of the scriptures teach us to live that holy life. Our society sometimes has a wrong idea of what love looks like. So we need to be informed by the scriptures about what it means to truly live a life of love. That's why our thinking is ignorant, and we need to be prepared in our minds, and we need to be sober-minded so we learn from the scriptures what it means to be holy, what it means to live a life of holy love. But there's a promise here in 1 Peter as well. I don't know if you caught it or not, but it's at the very end. It said, you shall be holy in all your conduct as he who called you is holy. Since it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy. I've often read that as a requirement. You must be holy, for I am holy. But I've come to see this not as a requirement, but as an incredible promise. A promise of a loving God who is faithful. He says, you shall be holy. And God is working in our lives to make us holy, to make us people who love him with everything we have and who radiate his love to everyone around us.